Here on Campaign Check, we're scrutinising the claims made on the campaign trail, and today we're starting with the NHS. Traditionally seen as a strong area for Labour, the Tories now want to trump their rivals. You might have seen this video posted by Boris Johnson online. Here's what he said about health spending.
We're investing massively in the NHS, the biggest investment for a generation.
Biggest investment in a generation. Now, is that actually right? The Tories say they'll spend about £148.5 billion on NHS England by 2023 to 24. That's £33.9 billion more than in 2018-19. In cash terms, that is the biggest ever funding increase. But here's the thing, that doesn't actually adjust for inflation. And if you do, it's a very different story, an increase of £20.5 billion, smaller than the £24 billion real terms increase under the last Labour government. So was Tony Blair a generation ago? Not really, so the claim doesn't entirely stack up. But it raises another question. How do the major parties' plans compare with what we've seen in history? And let's have a look back to the early days of the NHS. This line here showing you UK-wide health spending, so not just England like those last numbers, but note how even in real terms, the annual sum spent on the health service has been climbing substantially until the pace of growth tailed off under austerity. Let's split that into each different government since the war, so you can see how each party increased health spending, from Eden, Macmillan to Wilson, Thatcher up by 3.3% actually, Blair and Brown up a whopping 6%. And just look, that 1.3% increase since 2010, that's the weakest annual increase in any comparable period since the formation of the NHS. But what about the future? And the answer is, under the Conservative stated plans, you can see this bit here, real spending would increase by about 2.9% a year. Stronger than during austerity, but still the second weakest growth rate in the history of the NHS. Now, it's worth being a little cautious with this. I'm basing it on NHS spending. Also, they might yet pledge more health, more social care spending in their manifesto, but it does put things into perspective, doesn't it? What, though, about Labour? And let's have a look at their plans. You can see the answer is a steeper path of spending, rising by about 4.3% in real terms. Again, note, this includes social care, so it does boost that number, but 4.3%. It's steep, but still slightly shy of the increases under Blair and Brown. That's 6%. So the Tory plan, not quite the biggest planned spending increase in a generation. In fact, it's not even the biggest in this election.